Well, hello. This is Climbing with Malo75. I'm Martin Martinez. This is episode 1 for the podcast. I'm going to be here. We're going to be talking about your stories and talking about my story, but I'm here to kind of give you some light at the end of the tunnel and help you kind of get through those dark days and those dark situations and share with you what I did, what with the exercise and the Manitou Incline and everything that I've done. I'm here to share with you what I've done to get out of my horrible situations and help bring my faith and my belief up. I'm so thankful, grateful, and blessed to be here with all of you. And this is first podcast, no experience, just kind of taking it step by step and figuring out exactly what we need to do. But today we have Scott. Scott's with us today.
Hello.
But we're going to get started here. We're doing episode 1. We're just going to talk about daily life situations and how we cope with them. And I don't know. What do you think, Scott?
I think we're going to have a great time.
we're going in this blindfolded, so we'll figure it out, I guess, as we go along.
No, we'll be good. I mean, Martin and I met 3 years ago, or only 2 years ago, actually. I'll start over. Martin and I met in April of 2024 when I was doing a bunch of inclines. I was just starting to do like 500 inclines in a year, and it happened to meet him, and we started doing the incline like twice a day together. and realizing that we had the same kind of messed up personalities, and we could laugh together pretty easily, and it became just a friendship that was galvanized through time. He's helped me in plenty of situations off of the hill. I've been to his house many times to watch Broncos games. We're still 10-0 before this season begins in terms of the Broncos, so we're going to hope to get that streak maintained because the Broncos are in KC on week 1. But anyway, I just want to talk about how one gets to be happy, joyous, and free, because I am. I mean, I live a pretty peaceful life. And Martin and I are both over 50 years old. I know we look just younger than blazes, but Martin and I are both over 50, and there's a lot of lessons that I didn't learn until I was an old man already. And I wish somebody would have talked to me maybe 20 years ago through all of the stuff I was going through and helped me. And that's all we want to do, is have a heart to help you to get better based on the fact that we're still alive for some reason. And I know that I'm alive because I got a purpose to serve other people. And,
Amen.
It's how we met even on the hill. That's what we call the incline, the hill. But, Martin had that same heart. He was consistent. That's what I liked about him. He was up there all the time. In the early days, I'd always be still coming up, and he was already on his way down, and we would meet around step 2000 a bunch of different times. But we galvanized a friendship because we had similar interests. We found out that we were both alcoholics. Martin and I have never drank together because that part of our lives was done before we ever met. And in the course of that, though, we definitely could see that the incline helped us. I mean, when you're getting up at 3:30 in the morning every morning, that means you're going to bed at like 8 or 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and you're not thinking about messing up your life. And then once you go up the incline and you see the sunrise, there's nothing better than that. And I know that every time I see the sunrise up there, I don't want to screw up the rest of my day. So after that, then I'm going to go and I'm going to do whatever I got to do through that day. But man, the incline is a really positive thing. But we don't just want to talk about that, because I think Martin mentioned the word perspective. at one point, and that's really what life is about, is finding a perspective that cuts through all the things that makes life complicated. Like we put anxiety between our ears like crazy. We put all kinds of crap between our ears that doesn't need to be there. And if we could realize, and this is very much a faith-based, conversation, if we could realize that there is a God to give our problems to, and we don't have to own every single thing, man, it makes life so much less complicated and so much more peaceful and so much more free and happy. I mean, I grew up in a very negative environment. I didn't think the word happy was ever going to apply to me. And now to be like, where I am now and still have struggles, but to just kind of glide through life without a lot of complications, making life crappy, then I just want to talk about some ways how you get there, how you get from where you are now to where you are at a place where, wow, life is actually awesome. Because that's where I am, and I know it sounds really Pollyanna, it sounds really too good to be true, but the reality of life is that it can be so good that it feels too good to be true.
Being consistent is that one way to beat that old version, to get out of that darkness.
Absolutely.
Just showing up every single day.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about some stuff for a minute?
Well, I believe, you're just showing up for yourself every single day, like you said, when you showed up at the hill and I was already there pushing, that's because of that belief, that will, or that dream inside of you waking you up. Hey, you got to get up, man. There's no more time to sleep. Get up, make that move, take that first step, because every single step we're taking on that mountain or whatever step you're taking, you're getting better. And being consistent is where it's at. That drive, that will and that drive, you got to let it come out. If you don't ever let it come out, then you're going to be stuck on the couch, stuck doing habits that you necessarily shouldn't be doing.
Well, you talked about the fact that we're constantly getting better. That's a perspective that people need that they don't have. Yeah. People don't have a perspective there where it's like life is continually on an upward ascent the way we do. Because every day we're thinking, well, we're just on our way up. And we're on our way up a mountain, which is actually pretty hard to walk up. But we know that it's getting us better in a lot of different ways, and that's why we do it. But how many people are just kind of muddling through the mediocrity of life, just thinking, well, I have my job that I don't like, and I tend to my loved ones the way I tend to my loved ones. But are they really finding fulfillment in their lives? Our culture doesn't make people selfless. It makes them very selfish. Our culture, frankly, if we can be honest, our culture isn't necessarily designed to get us better. It wants us to be on our phones. It wants us to be in front of the TV. It wants us to think that technology is some kind of advantage.
Just pay into their system, be distracted constantly.
Well, or over-medicated, not just with hypothetical medications, but with real medications, And we can talk from having been alcoholics. I know that I was an alcoholic because I didn't become messed up because I was an alcoholic. I was an alcoholic because I was messed up. Because I had all kinds of issues I did not want to deal with. I didn't want to deal with figuring out how to be a good father and a good husband. And then my wife got cancer, and then I didn't want to deal with thinking about the fact that she was going to die. So I drank for those reasons. And then once I was a single father after my wife died, I didn't want to think about how hard that was and how inept I felt at that job and how I had gotten used to just smiling and waving and just pretending that everything was okay.
You had it all figured out.
Well, that's a real frailty of the human psyche is we think that we can control things. And the more we realize that the only thing we really control is ourselves, and if we would actually master our
own mind.
Well, and even that is a paradox, because I don't believe you can do that unless you fully surrender to the God who can give you that healing and freedom to have mastery to where you can do something that you don't necessarily love to do on the daily because you've realized, oh, that's actually better for me. You know, like how did we used to live? We used to drink what we wanted. We used to watch what we wanted. We used to do whatever we wanted. And then there was a part of us that realized that didn't really provide any kind of peace, didn't provide any kind of solace. It didn't provide any kind of I was never on an upward track.
Yeah.
I was always on just like a skidder, like
sliding down and wherever you land, just sliding on. Yeah.
Well, and just feeding into negative addictions.
Yeah.
That much more and more and more, and
going darker and darker.
But
that's what it's like I talk about, you know, the bottle, the bottom of the bottle, you know, it's just like it was always there. I mean, it was always in that bottle with the loose cap and just thinking that just one more drink to ease the pain.
Yeah.
So I don't have to think about what's really going on in life, you know, just a buffer or blindfold, I guess, putting a blindfold on.
Good way to say it.
You know, and it's just, that's a horrible addiction. That's something that
in those years, would you describe yourself as a positive person or like a...
No, hell no.
I mean, a negative person.
It was pure negative. Pure negative. That was the darkest days, you know, and it's, you know, you're always thinking about the next bottle.
Yeah.
Or the next drug, or the next hit. You know, that's what I always thought.
Yeah.
I drank 24. I mean, if I had a bottle right there next to me when I was awake, you know, all the time, every single. Then when I woke up, the bottle was on the nightstand. Took a swig right away, you know, and I was like in the guinea pig, the wheel, you know, just stuck.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure out. I didn't know how to jump out.
And that's where most people are because they don't realize that there is a solution.
Yeah.
You know, like my life sucks. So, okay, how am I going to fix that? Well, I really can't. I mean, I'm stuck in my job. I'm stuck in this. I'm stuck in this. You know, I'm maybe, even if your relationship is good, that's one thing. But if your relationship isn't good, then it's like, well, I'm in a relationship that I don't even know whether I want to be in. But nothing is feeding you. I mean, I know for me, I was incredibly insecure and incredibly self-loathing, and that made me narcissistic and made me extremely selfish. It always seems like a paradox that how does being insecure and hating yourself lead you to look like you love yourself beyond everything in the world? Well, it's because you're trying to control your world. You have a whole lot of fear that you don't want to talk about. You have fear that you're not doing anything right. You have fear that you're going to screw everything up. You have fear of life in general. You have fear of pain, you know?
Yeah.
And so when we were drinking, we were thinking, well, the bottle is the way to avoid the pain. But now we have sobriety. We have conscious thought that allows us the freedom to confront our pain soberly and to realize that there's actually a higher power. There's a God that wants to help us. And that's really a thing about American culture too that's kind of gone astray, is everybody thinks that God's this horrible, judgmental, terrible, you know, like, oh, I can't believe in God because my grandparents believe. If I believe in the same God as my parents, then I'm pretty much going to hell. But you realize as you go through travails that forgiveness is always a part of who God is.
Yeah.
And as we are on the hill, a part of my daily walk up that hill is really seeking into intimacy with God, where I learn more about his character and his personality. And everything I learn is that he just loves us way more than we can comprehend. And he has purpose for us way more than we give ourselves credit for. You know, like he's basically saying, I love you and you are there. You're still alive because I have a calling on your life where you're supposed to serve and love other people. I mean, did you know I'm older than when my wife died? I'm older than when 3 of my siblings died. So to still wake up every day, just by waking up every day, doesn't matter if I'm in pain or whatever, it's like, wow, that's an unbelievable blessing, you know, that you get to wake up every day. And so by even waking up every day, then we go do our thing and we vicariously help people, or we intentionally help people, or whatever it is. But we get the opportunity to be light, like you said initially.
Another gift, you know, you put in that. That's what I'd love to do. You know, I love to shine. That's why I don't know what it is. That's just my calling. You know, I was for year after year, I was drinking because I didn't want to live no more. Yeah. I was just done. I was like, and the main reason, it's just loss. You know, and that's what stems from everybody's pain is loss. Yeah. I mean, that's what the bottom line comes from. You know, it's your loss. You're losing. You don't have something in your life. That's why you're going after this addiction or whatever you're doing to try to cover that pain. You know, that pain. And that's what it was for me. I lost my wife, you know, and then my kids, you know, and then divorce and all that. I didn't think there was nothing else left, you know, missing that phone call to come home. You know, hey, you're ready to, you know, please come home. And I never got that call. So that kind of drove me to get more into that addiction, to harm myself, because there was nothing on that other side. But, you know, when God was always there, you know, hovering over me, my guardian angels, you know, people looking out for me, saying, hey, you know, this is not the right way to go. And, you know, I was stuck there still, you know, even when I kind of realized that, I was still stuck in that addiction for another 3 or 4 years until I finally broke that cycle. And what really broke that cycle for me was doing the Manitou Incline. And then meeting everybody. You know, it's not like, you know, I'm going to see Scott Diggleman up there drunk. You know what I mean? So it's like it's a good, positive place to go, you know? So it's just...
You mentioned my last name, Scott Diggleman.
Yeah.
What you said made me think about the fact how many people out there are living life like they're dead. I mean, like they're walking zombies. They're walking dead. And another thing I think about that's common in people is the acceptance of mediocrity. The acceptance of the fact that there isn't really an extraordinary self in me that I can exude out in the world, when in reality, that's a lie. I mean, and we get to see it on the hill. We get to see extraordinary people, whether it's we'll plug Crazy Bob turned a birthday today. He's a person on the incline that's an incredible person.
Happy birthday, Bob.
And the kindest person. I mean, like, you talk about exemplary human beings like Datren, Delaney, like Tristan Montoya, like all of the other, we could mention dozens and dozens of other names that are extraordinary people that have lifestyles that you want to emulate. Like, man, you're doing the hill again today?
Yeah.
And they're always encouraging. And that's the part about why I think you're doing a podcast, is that essence of a positive community trying to lift each other up.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that, hey, if you're down, number one, we're not going to field you just saying, wow, you're right, life does suck. I mean, we get that everybody's going to be down, and we get that circumstances are going to crush people. I mean, circumstances are going to hurt. Pain hurts.
Some people, I mean, they just need the light. They need to figure out, you know, that's another reason for the podcast, is they, you know, taking that little first step.
Yeah.
Even if the step is so small, but as long as they do it on a consistent basis, it'll change their life. And that's what people don't see. They don't see that part of it.
Well, you're right. And a part of it, though, is flipping what's between your ears.
Yeah.
You know, because if everything you have between your ears, and mind you, there's a lot of good reasons why you have stuff that you think about. It comes from your genetics. Maybe your parents were negative. Maybe your great-great-great-great-grandparents were negative. And it has trickled down to your generation, where you've just accepted the fact that it's okay to harbor grudges. It's okay not to forgive people. Yeah. It's okay to live in a negative mindset. Yeah. And we're here to tell you that one of the best ways to get happy and get free and healed is to forgive people.
Yeah.
I mean, for just that's what the Hill helped teach me.
Well, they're not taking the full responsibility of their own life.
Exactly.
That is the problem. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just like
really
it's always
easy.
somebody else's fault.
It's easy to play the victim.
Always somebody. Yes.
Yep.
Yes. It's just it's their fault.
Well,
it's their fault. I don't want to take
It's
responsibility.
easy to
for that.
say, but if you would have had my past, you'd feel my way too. And they don't realize, I mean, I'll be cynical in that way because everybody's had a hard past.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
some people have had really hellaciously hard pasts, but everybody's gone through hard things, and that doesn't mean that gives you any license to sit there and cry in your whatever you're crying in. Doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily
Yeah.
need to be your beer, but you're crying in your... Now, I don't want to take anything away from if people are in an abusive relationship where they need to get out of that. That's a hard situation.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's hard to find God in that situation. And it's hard to find people that support you in the right way because even the church doesn't know how to handle that.
Yeah.
But, if you're in a situation, though, where it's like, well, I don't want to, I've got PTSD, I've got trauma in my past. Well, probably you and I do too. We've got trauma in our past. But that doesn't give us an out from living a really, really positive life that inspires other people. If anything, that gives you that much more ability to walk into a room and say, look at these horrible things that have happened to me. And yet I still can come out of that praising God and thanking God that He allowed me to get out of that situation and then moving forward in a way where you've got an incredible testimony. Every one of us, if we actually think about it, has an incredible testimony to be able to bless other people with that testimony and then realize, wow, when I was going through that crappy stuff, I had no idea that it was going to serve somebody else.
Yeah.
And maybe that was God's point, though, in letting you go through that stuff, is that you were going to be a blessing to other people.
I mean, it was painful. I mean, but that's the bottom line. That's what I realized finally, after so many years is, hey, God is saying, hey, go ahead, beat yourself up. You're not going anywhere, so keep on beating yourself up, and then we'll see how you feel in the morning. But that's how it was. I just kept on. I had to see the light. Hey, man, you're just destroying yourself. You're not even going anywhere.
Not to be graphic, but we end up in like a big jacuzzi of our own crap, and it feels comfortable. I mean, but like it's warm, and we don't want to get out because that would be a change.
Yeah.
And people don't.
Nobody
people fear change because change in the past has been a really uncomfortable situation. Like maybe my life was going good and then somebody didn't come home from work because I got hit by a drunk driver and everything changed and that sucked.
Yeah.
So people are conditioned to think that change won't be something good. But when it comes to ourselves, I mean, a lot of us need to embrace the changes that could come from somebody giving you a different perspective and just saying, actually, maybe change would be the best thing you could go through. But change then, I mean, there's feeling. I mean, change sometimes just initially revolves around like a conviction. Like, man, these guys are right. I do need to be different. I need to change. I need to do this different. And you're excited about that in a feeling for about 24 hours before that gets old. That's why, like, New Year's resolutions, they last for a couple days, and then you lose the desire because you're stuck in your old habits.
You lose that state of mind that got you excited in the first place.
Yeah.
But that's why, you got to do these intense exercises like the hill, because it, gets your heart moving, get your blood flowing, get the sweat pouring, and that's what gets me.
And you're right.
You get the euphoric, you're like, oh man, I'm a beast. There ain't nothing going to stop me. I'm going to get, but people don't get into that situation. You know what I mean? Where their blood pressure is, they're raising their blood pressure.
Doing what you're talking about, getting your sweat going and everything, that actually secretes happiness.
Nobody does that.
Well, it secretes joy. Like it secretes really positive things into your system to do that. But, we got to remember there are people that have mental illness. There are people that have physical limitations where it's like, well, it'd be nice to lose weight, but I'm a really, really overweight person and I've been conditioned to be this way by 20 or 40 or 60 years. or I'm conditioned to go to the doctor who's more than willing to write a script for me to take a med that's probably not even good for me, especially if it's like a pain med or a psychotropic, which is going to leave you med addicted.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, then I didn't realize that there was a better way, because my world always told me that this was the best way to go about life. And we're just maybe to, your mission might be to just tell people there's always a better way than what you thought was the only option you had, if it didn't feel like a worthwhile option.
Well, when I got out of was when I was finally able to stop, drinking. And God bless Alana, she passed away. That was the main reason why I was still able to this day not to drink. Well, anyways, when I did the first 75 hard program, that's what changed my life forever. Mm-hmm. That's why I'm the person that I am, because those exercises and that discipline and that drive every single day, I always had something to do that I had to do. So I remember counting, I have to do this, I have to do this, I could do the second exercise. Yeah. But that's what got me out of that dark state to where I wanted to go back to drinking, was getting those endorphins, getting that heart rate up, getting that sweat pouring, feeling, like a badass, like a beast.
And that was only 75 days.
75 days, but it was, and so you had to be so strict. Months, you had to be so strict.
Yeah.
That's what pride. So you have to be so strict, and you got to be, consistent, that it pries open whatever. Yeah. If you have some bad things in your life, and there's no way you're gonna get through 75 hard, but you're gonna get through 75 hard, and you're gonna beat that problem.
Right.
So that's what happened with me. It kind of
well, and 75 is an excellent number. So,
and then that's why, that's why
this young man happens to be born in 1975.
I'm born in 1975.
So there's two reasons why it's Malo 75, though, because that got you going.
Yeah.
75 is a good number, because they say that you.
Well, I always thought of 75 just because of the year I was born, but then it was a coincidence. 75 hard was.
There are no coincidences. But they say that you can radically change a habit between 30 and 60 days. So by the time you do something 75 days, you're well ingrained into a different habit.
Yeah.
And I can talk for a minute about the fact that what changed me. I mean, I got involved with AA, and at first that was only because I thought that would look good in front of a judge who, because my kids got taken away because I couldn't stop picking them up from school being drunk. And so my daughter had had enough of that, and quite rightfully talked to the people at school, and my sister took my kids. So I started going to AA, but then within 75 days, I was a different person. I mean, I did it every day. And I realized within a very short time for me that had I not gone to AA and been involved in a step program where, I had to look at my whole life and had to realize that, okay, drinking was one way that I coped with life, but then even after you stop drinking, I realized that I had plenty of issues that I needed to confront soberly. And it was in confronting the rest of life soberly that life has been such a joy beyond that. Because every time I go through something where I'm looking at like a character defect or some way that I can see maybe I'm still not hitting the mark and I'd like to do better, I can give that to God. I mean, it's that easy and that peaceful to move forward and be like, okay, the drinking is behind me, but I'm still not a perfect person, and I still got relationships to reconcile and all kinds of stuff to do on the daily. But I got one of my boys lives with me again, and all of the other relationships I hope are lifting up. But then, in the same time frame that I began to do AA, I then began to do the incline every day. Yeah. And it was just a perfect combination of things, because every time I was on the hill, I was just like one step at a time, one day at a time. And, my motto is always head down, next step. Like, don't look up. Don't worry about what's going to happen a week from now or a year from now. As people, we overthink to the ninth degree. We overthink like crazy about, what's going to happen here. And man, just keep it simple for yourself and apply everything you got to today and go do what you got to do today and let tomorrow take care of itself.
Yeah. Live in the moment. Enjoy every single moment.
Well, and just realize the only thing you can do anything about is today.
Yeah.
I've got plenty of things that I regret from the past, but I can't go back in time and undo those. All I can do is keep my little hula hoop clean, keep my side of the street clean, and recognize, like we talked about earlier, that I might have an opinion on something that goes on in the world, but the world doesn't care.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
I'm not going to issue that. All I'm going to do is focus on what I can control.
So don't lose it on that one little situation.
Yeah. We see people perseverate on stuff that they can't do anything about, get angry about world affairs or whatever. You and I never have had one conversation about what's going on in the world.
No.
Because, I mean, if I had a dog, I'd want to know, like, as much as what my dog knows about what's going on in the world. Like, I don't care. I just know that
We're talking about the heel and healing.
And you talked about the consistency of a new habit is really hard for people.
Yeah.
Because they've got to have some kind of internal drive that is beyond feeling, beyond conviction. It's got to last. I mean, if you're even going to do something, let alone 75 days, but if you're even going to do something 7 days in a row, that's something contrary to what you used to do, that's a really hard thing to show people that there's benefit to that. So you got to kind of be at a place where you recognize you can't be dumbed down to the fact that your current life doesn't work, because you got to be honest with yourself to ask yourself, does my current life work or not? And if the true answer is no, man, like you're just floating along. You're just floating along and you're lying to yourself on the continual, but it's not really working. And if you can finally get to a place where you realize, man, it would help me so much if I would make just one tiny little change, incorporate one good habit to replace a bad habit. And what the mistake a lot of people make is thinking that they can just stop doing something, and that's not going to happen, because then what are you replacing it with?
Yeah.
Because then you're just doing like I don't do that anymore, but now I'm bored kind of a thing, and you're going to revert back to what you were doing. So you got to replace whatever was negative with something positive, and do it enough to I mean, that's what you did to walk the hill.
Well,
you weren't doing it every day, and then you were.
The thing that made me so tough in a mental toughness is I was doing that rucking with 75 pounds before I got on the hill. So I was doing that every single day, 75 pounds on the back, and then I was doing maybe 2 sets of 10 with the 75 pounds on the back. So what I think people need to understand is they have to take their body through these severe, these strenuous, intense exercises like the Manitou Incline. Not necessarily having to do them every single day, but do it every once in a while, so it'll humble you, and it'll make you feel like, hey, I'm so thankful, grateful, and blessed to be alive for another moment, another breath in my lungs, another heartbeat.
It's a pretty fundamental AAism that right action leads to right thinking, and not the other way around. You can think about doing something right forever, because plenty of people overthink and then do it once and realize, well, this isn't as fun as I thought. I guess I'm not going to do that. Do something before you think too much about what you're doing, and get yourself in the habit of doing something. And then your thinking will come beyond that. But you talked about mental toughness. Mental toughness is so important, because it's what I see in the people that I admire. The people that I admire have a really hardcore mental toughness, but then that correlates with a spiritual toughness, that they don't just give up on things. Like, I mean, it's amazing. If I think about the people that I emulate, that I want to be like, they are selfless. They are always encouraging. They might or might not be physically tough, but they're mentally tough and they're spiritually tough. And they're consistent in those ways too. When you talk about discipline and consistency, I mean, I've realized that one of the habits that has become mainstay for me is the habit of saying hi to God, of communicating with God and seeking God continually, and not just, God, I seek you, but I seek the healing that comes from seeking you. I seek the freedom, obedience, courage. I seek the courage to follow you the way I want. I seek the humility that comes with following you, because the hill is a very humbling thing. We've both been a lot faster than we are now, and now we go at whatever pace we go, because the hill is humbling. And humility is an important part of life. But right actions, doing the next right thing, is an important part of life.
Always.
And that leads then to having a right heart. Because a right heart is an important part of life.
Well, to take the responsibility at that time, that action is what says it all. What is your next step? What is your next action going to do if something horrible is going on in your life? That's where some people fall off the edge. So they had a death. So now, I had a death. I get to drink as much as I possibly want.
Well, we can talk
you
about.
Know what I mean?
We can talk about something that a lot of people can relate with. Were you ever an angry person?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, so was I. But a lot of the ways that you handle, like, your defensiveness, if someone hurts your feelings or someone irritates you in a short-term situation, how does one react to that? Do they immediately lash back out of instinct, or do they pause? And do they realize, maybe this time I can do something a little different than how
Nobody has patience. They just act right away. That's what happens. They need to sit, take a breath, relax, think about it,
and not retaliate.
Yes.
Patience is extremely
and see, that's
important.
the problem with me when I was a drunk. I didn't have no patience.
Yeah.
And I didn't know. There was no thoughts. Action. And every action I took was a stupid action. It was the wrong action to take, of course, because I was
and by nature, people are impatient because they want to be in control. And when you need to have patience, then that's somebody saying it's not going to go your way.
You're putting it in somebody else's hands.
But no, patience is a big deal. I'm glad you said it.
You're putting it in God's hands.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. You know what I mean? You relax.
How
breathe
often
easy.
was God patient with us that we would have any right to be impatient about anything?
Yeah.
How long did it take us to get our heads out of our orifices?
Yeah.
Orify that's what I realized.
It took the extreme death.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? It took. And you realize that. It's just like, wow, I made it through. Something has to be right. There's got to be a light inside of me that I have to bring out to everybody, and that's why I'm still here. That's the way I think. So that's why I have to push my hardest to be the best I possibly can. Every single day, every moment.
And if there was any spark of anything that ignited anybody watching or listening to this to do anything different, God has had patience with you in your whole life up till now, and you've still just been dogmatic about the fact that, no, I'm in control, this is the way it's going to go. Being open-minded enough to realize that maybe you've been wrong about a whole lot of crap. Because I had to come to that realization late in life where it's like, damn, every way that I thought I was in control or that I was right, that I have this opinion and it's important, I would later look back on that and be like, man, I was just an idiot all through my life. Yeah. And to even at a later stage of life come to a point of humility and open-mindedness and willing to change, willing to realize that maybe God had a different thing going this whole time. And he was patient enough to look at every single way I was and every single thing I did and still love me through all of that. And show me grace, because then when you realize that you're receiving a lot of grace, you want to give a lot of grace back to the world.
He's having patience with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's steadily watching you and having patience with you and like, idiot again. But, you know, we have to learn ourselves.
Totally.
We have to learn ourselves, and we have to figure out which is the right step to take next. You know, that's the problem, is people are not taking the right, instead of taking the step, you know, to better improve their life, they're always taking that, or not taking those steps at all.
Right.
Backwards.
And
you know?
well, just thinking that life is okay as how it is, just kind of numb to the reality of their situation. I mean, you're 6 years younger than me. I was older than you are now when I stopped drinking. So that was incredible. And I was a single father raising 5 kids. I mean, there were 3 still at home, but I can't purport to have been a good human being in any of that. And then you wake up and realize, wow, I was incredibly selfish. But God gave me a lot of gifts in that he made me want to be selfless. He made me want to totally change. He gave me the hill. He gave me the community of people that I have now surrounded myself with that are profoundly different than what I did before. And we'll tell people this all the time. You cannot come out of a rut in isolation. You've got to surround yourself with people.
No, you're right about that.
I mean, you've got to be humble enough to say, I need help in a community environment.
You'll get farther depressed. If you fall farther in that hole. I think that's where that suicide comes from. If you keep on falling in that hole, like you're saying, and you can't climb out of it, then there's no other option. You have no other option. You
keep your pain to yourself, and you just accept that life is supposed to be as crappy as it is. And you don't ever communicate with the person, whether it be somebody you work with, whether it be somebody you climb the hill with, whether it be whomever. You don't talk to that person and say, hey, actually, I'm like in an abusive situation where my husband has threatened to kill me if I say anything to somebody. You know, because plenty of people are in that situation. Or whatever it may be, but you get the feeling like talking to someone and validating yourself for who you want to be rather than just the box that you're in. Because plenty of people have themselves in a box of just, this is all I'm good for. This is all I'm going to ever do. You know, I'm not intended to do anything better than what I'm doing now. And then you got God telling you, but man, you could be an extraordinary talent.
The problem
in so many ways
is that people need to learn how to stack the days. You know what I mean? Stack the winning days. Just stack them over and over and over. Stack them. And that'll change you personally. You know, as an individual, it'll change you no matter what state you're in. You know, I mean, even like I think of 2010, 2000. I was in my those darkest, deepest days. You know, but you know, back then in those days like that, I could only imagine if I had somebody, hey, let's go do this hill. Let's go. And then they took me to the Manitou Incline and put me and said, take that first step.
But instead you had people that were feeding you drugs and feeding you alcohol, and you were feeding people drugs. But see, that's why I want to bring these podcasts like this so people can watch this and they say, hey, these guys been through some horrible shit. And all we want to do is lift other people up now. Based on the fact that God gave us an incredible gift to just still wake up breathing. And then beyond that, have a desire and then create consistent habits, like you said, that lead toward a better outcome. Because that's what people need to do. They need to have consistent habits that lead to a better outcome.
We keep waking up. So
but we don't revert to a negative mentality.
Exactly.
Because we've surrounded ourselves with a positive mentality, which says from 3:30 in the morning when I wake up, or 3 a.m., you know, I mean, I got to say a little prayer that says, God, get me out of bed. But then beyond that, you realize today is going to be an awesome day. And when you're speaking life into yourself like that, when you're speaking the affirmations into your life like that, you don't have, I mean, on second thought, it's not going to be. I mean, you're not going to run into situations that upend you. I mean, I've lost a job in the last year. We both had hard financial stuff in the last year even. And that didn't mean that we reverted back to drinking. Didn't mean that we reverted back to anything that just reinforced this negativism that said, I suck, so therefore I drink.
But see, in a sense, I think that's why having that hill keeps us away from that.
it's
you
a
see
good
what I'm saying? Because
opportunity
it's,
to
it's
remain
something
centered.
that humbles us and
Yeah.
brings that beast out of us. I mean, we have no other choice when we're climbing that mountain that, hey, we got to give it all
Right.
we got, because we're not going to back down, or we're not going to take
Right.
one of the bailouts. I mean, are you kidding me? You know, like some people say, did you make it every time? Every time. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? There's no halfway point. I mean, if our foot maybe is falling off, we might still be climbing, but who knows? But, you know, we still make it. But that's one reason why we stay grounded to who we are nowadays, because we've got that consistency. We've stacked the day. We've stacked so many mountains.
Well, something like
behind us,
that has
you know.
to apply then to our mental conditioning and to our spiritual conditioning.
Yeah.
It's just because something bad. I mean, I know that God is for me, and I've seen a million miracles to where one bad circumstance doesn't mean a thing. I know that God has me in such a way that it's like I'm good with everything. And then you have a self-love out of that I never had before. I didn't have a self-love where I really believed that I was possible to be loved or that I was lovable. And then when you're talking to a higher power on a continual basis, and you realize you see him doing things for you continually, you're like, man, you actually love me. That's cray-cray. Yeah. And then we can love other people out of that too.
Yeah.
We can, and when we see how much we've been forgiven, like we've talked about, we can forgive other people. I mean, I'll just go back to that, because that's such an important part of life, is not just holding on to anything negative. You know, Philippians, I'll quote one Bible line that says, whatever's good and pure and awesome, just focus on that. Don't focus on dumb stuff, you know. And that's affirmed by the fact that God says it. It's like, don't focus on stupid crap. Just focus on what's going to help you to get better and to lift higher and to be on an upward ascent where you see somebody else struggling and you can bring them up with you. You know, that's the goal. That's why you're doing the podcast, I think, is just so people will come up with you.
That's exactly why I'm doing it, because I want to bring everybody up. Yeah. There doesn't need to be nobody
metaphorically,
struggling,
physically,
you know.
everything.
Everything. I mean, this is we're here to shine. We're here to shine our brightest from here on out, and we're here to help the other people shine their brightest, to clear that the path, you know, kind of open that pathway for them, to show them even the smallest step taken, but taken on a consistent basis will help you.
Well, and out of a humble spirit, I would say that, you know, I want to reflect the light of God. Yeah. That if there's anything that he can teach people through us, then that's
over fear, brother. Faith over fear.
That's the good part, is that they would have an intimate relationship with him based on the fact that we do. Yeah. And that we didn't give up. And that when we had it as bad as they have it, we were like, you know what? I'm not going to let life beat me.
When the days when you're thinking that, hey, you know, why is God doing this to me? Why, you know, you have to outwit the devil. You know what I mean? You just keep on going. You have patience. You keep on going. You stack those winning days, stack the days, keep on going, pushing, even if it's a walk around the block, you know, one step, one body weight squat, one push-up. You could build from anywhere. Yeah. You know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily mean you have to stay in that the edge of the bed with that bottle, you know, for all your to the end of days, you know.
But we ended up saying a lot of stuff, which is don't isolate, you know, be a part of a community, that be humble enough and courageous enough to go to people if you need to say, I need help.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, reach out.
You know, I speak at prison meetings where I often say the hardest dude in here is not the one that can kick everybody's butt. It's the one that can come to a meeting and say, I need help.
Yes,
you know,
yes,
and that's what true courage is, and true humility, wrapped into one. But you know,
have a source.
Just adopting.
That's what I like to, you know, have a source that people could reach out and say, hey, you know, do you got something for me, Martin? You know, I can. Right. And that's what I'm going to be building. So many guides to help people out in any situation. You know, mental, physically.
Amen.
You know, in God's way, whatever the situation is, but. We're almost going to be wrapping this up today, but this is episode 1, Climbing with Malo75. Scott was here today so we could share some thoughts. And, you know, as we go along through these episodes, I'll have Scott as long as he wants to. If he's available, I'm going to have him on the show as a backup co-host, but we'll see what his time is. And but I'll be taking on new guests, and message me if you want to be on the show. I'd love to have you. But we're just going for mental toughness and trying to get you out of your old self and put you in a new version. What do you think, Scott?
Yeah, we're trying to just allow you to see that the most beautiful life is, for me, the most beautiful life is the life that is in service to other people. That's the message I would try to convey, and that's why we're here, is to try to serve other people.
Wonderful. All right, we'll see you.
Bring it.
We'll see it, everybody. Leave comments. Let me know how we did and what you thought of the show. Get after it.